Let's talk Rhino's Roar. I got something. I got something special, something new, something fresh for you today. So anyone who follows me at all knows that I have a love for Rhino. Rhino is my favorite frame by a metric mile. I love him. I think he looks sweet. Love these wolf plates on him. So yeah, love Rhino. Now Rhino's Roar is kind of an odd damage buff because it feels really good to use, but numerically it doesn't keep up with stuff like Mirage. His damage buff, while it is a total damage buff like Mirage, and unlike Chroma, it's only 100 to 150 something percent. Mirage is like in the 5 to 800%. She's way more powerful. But I found the reason why his buff feels so good. Before I tell you, I'm going to show you. We got a Gas Ignis Wraith. So yeah, let's spawn a bunch of these corrupted heavy gunners to go level 100, just to keep it sortie level. These are sortie level corrupt heavy gunners. So let's see what this does with and without the buff. This is a pretty standard build for Rhino. I get like 150% damage for my buff. It's not crazy. Look at this. Spray into the crowd. We got all those overlapping gas procs, and this is incredibly slow. We'll just drop them all real quick. Just very inefficient, very slow. This is not viable at all, not in the slightest, for sortie level corrupted units. And he's dead. Alright, let's see what it does with that buff. That's different. Now, I don't know about you, but that does not seem like a 150% increase to DPS. That seems like a way larger increase to DPS. Okay, keeping up. So apparently, Rhino's buff has unique interaction, which I will explain in a second, because it's not the only place we find that. But let's try something else real quick. Let's try something else. We are going to grab a slash weapon. We have the Dread. Let's grab a Dread build. This is a all-around Dread build for as much slash as possible. Get rid of you. We don't really need you. We'll place you with reload speed. There we go. Awesome. Let's try this same test with a slash build. Look at those numbers. Alright, slash here. What are we getting? We're getting 7,000 for a yellow slash. It just jumped to 18,000. You saw that? So with the buff, it should be 18,000, right? Wrong. 46,000. So, you're not even seeing the procs, but there we go. Yellow slash is 46,000 damage. That is enough with one proc to one-shot any enemy you can find. That was a body shot, a hit a shoulder thing for 20,000 damage. This is stupid, okay? That's stupid. I don't even need to test the rest of this. Let's see what else, though. Let's grab a normal weapon. We're not going to cause any sort of... we're going to make this thing a corrosive build real quick. And we're going to compare a corrosive build with Rhino's buff. Alright. Let's see. It's better, but it's not... Let's look. First shot, 5,028 damage. Or somewhere around those lines. Without the buff... like 13... 19 something. It's not a massive jump. Alright, so it's 1950. Then the first one's 5,000. That's roughly in line with my buff. So my buff from Rhino is specifically and exclusively affecting just my procs, and it's not affecting them equally. It is affecting my gas procs wildly more than my slash procs. And I'm going to show you one more gas weapon so it can really drive this home. We have the Javlock. This is a throwable. I'm going to use a throw mode. This is a standard throwing mode build. Since you don't use multi-shot, use magazine side for throwing mode. This is it. This is a standard build for that. Let's give this a run and see what this can do. We'll kill these guys out and grab some new ones. With and without the buff. That's alright damage. That's alright. That's pretty decent. But let's try it with the buff. This is gonna blow your tits off. I mean, your socks off. Yep. Alright, watch this. Yoink. And they're dead. Now, I don't know if I need to tell you, but these guys are getting 18,000 damage ticks. That's not supposed to happen at this level. Gas is supposed to be heavily neutered by armor. And even though Ferret armor is a little better than alloy armor versus Toxin, it's not that much better. It's a little better. This is a build with no multi-shot, and it's doing this to these guys. Look at the values of those procs. That is absurd. Now let's just do a normal shot. We're seeing them in the thousands. There. 162. What is going on here? Alrighty. So, I'm going to explain this while I walk around killing stuff with my Redeemer Prime. So basically what's going on here is we are getting the same effect that we get from Bane mods. And Bane mods, what happens is the damage bonuses. Bane mods are like the Expel Corrupted, Bane of Corpus, that kind of stuff. Let's build it off. You always pick them up. We have the Prime Bane mods. Yeah, I'll show you real quick. I'll grab one to show you so you know what they look like. So if you went to your primary, you would see, go down here, you would scroll over, and you would see Bane of Corpus, Bane of Infested, Bane of Grenier. It gives you more damage. These aren't very good 90% of the time, but when you put them on a slash or gas build, they become way more powerful because they have the same effect that Rhinos Roar does, in that it buffs the Toxin and the gas and the slash procs by much higher multipliers than the listed ones. I mean, look at this. This is no buff. This guy. Here, we'll show you real quick. We'll estimate it with this, the Redeemer, so you can get a really... This is a really clear picture. We'll get my combo counter down, so it's not affecting us. One shot to you. Look at that. That's pretty good damage. Right here, you're basically on her. And that's going to one-shot him. You get the picture. 6,880 damage on a gas tick on a level 100 corrupted enemy is unfair. It's just unfair. And I can show you the math for it, and I'm going to be putting this on a Reddit post. So I'm going to put all the the numbers I have there to prove it. But basically, it multiplies gas damage by 3 times my damage buff. So an easy way to explain it would be it basically multiplies damage off itself 3 times, which is different than multiplying it by 3 because those stack. So it's like 2, then 4, then 8 instead of 2, 4, 6. You understand? But it's not exactly that number. Great example to show that would be that Ignis, because not only am I getting the multiplier from crits on them, I'm also getting multipliers from the gas procs stacking on each other, from the enemies near each other, and then I'm getting that massive stacking bonus, which basically amps how many multipliers I have stacking off each other to drive my damage numbers through the roof. Slash procs are simpler. Slash procs just apply twice. So basically think about it like this. If you had a 2.0 multiplier and you did 5 damage, you would be doing 10 damage on a crit. And then you add in my buff, it would be doing 20 damage because it's going to multiply it twice. So if you get a crit on that, you're doing 40 damage. And if it's a headshot crit, you're now doing 80 damage where you were previously doing 5 damage. That's why stacking multipliers is so important, because with this build, look, this dread, it does not do 50,000 damage. It just doesn't. But when you get those crit multipliers, the crit chance, the headshot multiplier in there, on top of the double stacking bonus from Rhino's buff, you're getting so many different multipliers stacking on top of each other like a tower of multipliers that it drives the damage to absurdity. You can do it with almost anything. Anything that does gas or slash. Arcisco. This works great here. The Atomos here. This is awesome. I love showing this off. Look at this. Look at those guys again. Turn the AI back off. Yoink. Go over here. Let's see what this does without any bonuses. This is a gas build, and it is not doing much. It's a whole magazine. That's a lot of procs. It's a lot of procs, but it's not doing much. Alright, let's go over here. Try with a buff. That's better. These guys, almost 2 full magazines, they still have half health. Nuked a whole group in one magazine, and this is more enemies. Let's go into some weird minutia, though. The buff only applies fully if you cast it before you start shooting. Okay? So go over here, and we're going to show you how to get that half buff. So what we're going to do is we're going to lace them full of toxin procs and gas procs, basically. And then we're going to cast R3. And those numbers do go up, and you can see the damage goes noticeably up. But not to the full extent. Then you start shooting again, and getting those crazy numbers. So, from what I can tell, the buff is normal when you use it on an existing proc. You get the standard buff. But when you use it on like before you start attacking, it gets that hyper bonus. And real quick, I'm just going to show you. I'm going to prove my findings here. I have a Rhino. I'm going to switch to a much weaker build. This one gets exactly 200%, which gives me an exactly 100% damage buff. It doubles my damage. And we are going to grab a Bratton. Put away everything else. I have I'm not going to get headshots. My only arcane is from ability. We're going to grab just a single enemy. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove all my findings real quick. Go over here. I'm going to put this on this post in text so you can see that. It's a corrosive build. Hold on 1 second. We're going to make this build very particular. Do I already have a build? No. We're getting rid of multi-shock. Get rid of you and you and you. We want the crit chance so we can test the crit chance. But we just want... Yes, we want the slashes, and that's it. We want a proc slash, and we want to have that. So let's go in there and test that. Although I'd have stripped his armor, which I know doesn't affect slash procs, but in the air of perfect testing, we're going to go test it without that. There we go. Fresh boy, no corrosive procs. Slash proc does 30 damage. Buffing it does 60 damage. Pretty simple. Right? Let's get a fresh one. Come on. It's a puncture proc. Puncture proc, puncture proc. Come on. Slash proc. 120. You see? It applied twice. Because my slash proc should be doing 30,000 damage. Not 120. But if you think about it, you know, it applies to the 30 and gives it that, and then it applies again. 2 times 60 is 120. But then if we can let's try to get a crit slash. One of the buff is active, so I can show you that. You see, 120 still. Not a fluke. Come on, give me a crit slash. Standard slash, standard slash. Not getting very good luck with these crit slashes. Crit puncture proc. 5 seconds. There we go. 121 crit slash without the buff. So let's get a buffed one now. $121 is that crit one without the buff. There we go. That's a big one. 242. So when you get that crit multiplier, the 2.0 crit multiplier, the 120 from a standard buff slash gets multiplied by 2 with that crit. And I guess 2 damage is just rounding, which is, you know, there's smaller numbers at work here. So we can get not a 3 times multiplier, but 3 separate 2 times multipliers on a single slash proc with just 1 buff by getting a crit slash. That is nutty. So let's show what that would do with the gas weapon, because that's a bit more interesting to look at. Although the numbers are a lot more hectic over here. This is the end of it. Real quick, just want to show you where's the Carrick. Carrick Wraith. This is the build I was testing with. I just got damage to make the numbers a bit bigger. Point strikes so we can test crits versus non-crits. Then gas. It's going to be a gas weapon. Let's get a new guy in the era of perfect testing. Alright. Get that energy. Gas proc. Crit gas does 16. Buffed crit gas is 31. So you see, it just gives it a normal buff. That's a 100% damage buff. If you use some rounding, it's about almost exactly. But that's another one. It's doing 124. That's weird. There's a slash doing 214. Usually the gap between slashes and gas are much bigger because of armor. But because it's multiplying the gas by more than it is the slash, you're getting a smaller differential. I need some more energy. One sec. I need a standard gas proc versus a big chunky one. Give me a weak little gas proc. That's another crit gas. 16. So remember, 16 was the base, and then we got up to 100 something with just 1 buff. Let's get another. Then 26 for slash. Alright, so 8 looks like that. Goes up to 6. No, yep, there we go. 8 to 16 is standard gas procs. 124. There, we need a separate one. We need that's a crit slash. Crit gas. 62. Goes up to 62 damage for a standard gas proc. That is a massive jump. Let's just get another freaking. Give me a gas proc. Did you give me a gas proc? There we go. Look at those. That's crazy variability in the amount of damage you can do. And then you throw in, if you use something, say a beam weapon to test, you can throw in the multipliers from charging it up all the way, or use just tapping it. You can use headshots, crit headshots, because crit headshots and normal headshots aren't created equal. Crit applies twice to headshots, meaning that you can take a, let's keep this. We're going to try to make the biggest gas proc we can. $249 for a standard gas proc on the headshot. Give me a crit. That's a crit slash for 862. One of those crit slashes. Come on. Crit gas proc. Come on. There we go. Crit gas. 996. My crit gas did more than a slash proc on a headshot. So, and you just unload into him and see, oh, well, it's not doing much damage. It's pathetic. Double the damage of the procs, which you can obviously see. But suddenly I'm doing. And this is with almost no mods. This is a weak weapon. And just killed that. So yeah, that's about it. Kind of rambled for a bit, but I think it's really interesting how Rhino's buff makes him one of the best map clears for Continent Authority. You can take a gas Ignis on Rhino, and as long as you keep his buff up, and I'll show you the build I use, as long as you keep his buff up, he can clear up to Authority 3. He can just run it. This is what I run. You want a decent amount of duration. This gives me 42 seconds of duration and a good damage buff, and this is a good set of armor. But you can run an Ignis, a gas Ignis, and this will kill any enemy in the game quickly. with just one buff. That's a pretty long-lasting, relatively cheap buff. And you know gas procs overlap, so we'll show you without gas procs overlapping what this does to this guy. Toughest enemy you'll see in a sortie, realistically. 20,000 damage gas ticks. 20,000 damage from an Ignis. From an Ignis Wraith. Alright, well that's about it. Appreciate you watching. If you found it interesting or you want to listen to my beautiful voice more, feel free to subscribe. Feel free. It's a free country that I live in, but also please do. Yep, that's about it. Deuces.